Okay, and we are live. Hello, everybody. This is actually the first time that we're streaming, not actually playing D&D. My name is Paladin.
I know.
And this is Archaeist.
Hello.
Welcome to the channel, Archaeist. You've actually seen him many times. He's been here for the past 2 years, right? I believe.
Yes. That sounds about right.
Quite a while. So what today's going to be about is I wanted to take a moment to really kind of focus a lot on this wonderful person over here. Hold on, other way. This wonderful person over here, because he's partnered with us on Discord.
Wait, no, other side. This wonderful person.
Yeah, this one, right? Oh yeah, ignore that part. But I just want to give a lot of attention to Archaeist, because we're partnered together, and I want to be able to give him a lot of support, and also to have a chance for people to get to know him and be able to know what it is that he's up to, follow his channel, and see where things go. So we're actually sitting in the Archives Discord server right now, like in VC, completely open. Anyone can join us. And I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions. We're gonna talk about a lot of D&D nerdy things. We're going to get off script a lot. I know we're gonna laugh a lot.
Probably.
Already.
Good chance.
Yeah, right. And so this is gonna be a really good chance and opportunity for all of y'all to get to know who he is and kind of get some insights on what's going on, what's coming up. So Bug and Zombie Sorcerer 31, welcome to the chat, by the way. Glad to have y'all both here.
Hello.
But yeah, I'll go ahead and stop talking. And Ian, why don't you just kind of like give us a whole introduction on who you are and what we could expect to learn about you today.
All right, so hi, I'm Ian. I also go by Archaeist on here as well as YouTube. So I am an archaeologist by trade, an adamant nerd by passion. So yeah, I do have 2 degrees in archaeology. Please don't ask me where I'm working right now. I am currently unemployed. Don't ask about the US right now. Anywho, especially since the pandemic, I really started leaning into Dungeons and Dragons, especially as a hobby. And after some family tragedies in the last couple of years, I was like, you know what? I should maybe have a bit more of a social life. So I started, I got a TikTok, and archaeology, very cool. Yeah, we can answer questions about that after. But, so started on TikTok. Hopefully I can say that on here. Started meeting some people, kind of decided to take the dive, entered a couple rather bigger than I'm used to Discord servers. I met up with Annam Kelly, who is an inspiring author, and TTRPG Toria, who is now probably about 40 times as big of a channel as I am. But yeah, I met a lot of people through that, and there were a few of whom that became my friends. And they were like, Ian, you should really stream. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I'd be that popular. And 84 followers and 1 subscriber later, maybe I'm starting to see the point. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always nice to build a community around the things that you like. And when people enjoy you coming back, it's great, right? Like, it's nice.
Yeah, no, before I did this, if you told me I'd be in this position right now, I'd have called you a crazy nuthead.
I think whenever we first met, when was that? It was during the second world record marathon.
I was Rappanathic, I think. I commented on Eve Me Alone's post where she posted about being a DM in one of the sessions. And I was like, that sounds like fun. And you were like, join us. And I was like, you know what? I think I will. Right. I do have the day free.
Sounds about right. I'm very aggressive, I guess, sometimes. But anyway, I remember that you played the brain role, and I vaguely remember. I think that you played a necromancy elf, I believe is what it was.
Yeah,
so
if I remember correctly, because these were pre-made characters as far as I was aware.
I think so.
Where we sort of like crowdfunded what each one was.
Right.
One was a turtle something or other that quickly became overpowered, so we quietly retired him.
Yeah, Sheldon.
Sheldon. All right. So then the next 10. One I popped. next one I popped in, it was I want to say Miracle Whipley by that point.
Oh yeah, and then I got her killed the next session.
Yeah, you got her killed the next session. I ended up picking one off when on a morning I unexpectedly had free, and found myself playing an eccentric Dampier Necromancer.
Ah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one that everyone liked. It was Vladdy.
Oh my god.
God.
Oh god.
It was a great time.
Yeah, no, that was funny. And then I was like, oh, you're so hungry. I was like, I guess I'll pick off one of the loggers. I have no fucking clue.
I'll just eat this one over here. Yeah. I remember, I think we spent 7 days stuck in that castle. In this castle where we started off. Because we had no supplies and no gear. And I think we killed like 11 characters in 5 days. I think that's still the record.
Sounds about right, yeah. We went through a lot of characters, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely did, and it definitely was a lot of death. And by the end of it, I was like, maybe we should pull back a little bit. It's a little bit too much death at some point. I think I had one person die from like 3,000 feet of like fall damage from a Wheel of Chaos at one point. It was something crazy.
Yeah, and honestly though, I think almost everything in any campaign you've done, that is to say, any campaign you've done that I've been a part of, it always goes to shit specifically because of the Wheel of Chaos.
You know what? That's very true. Especially whenever I first started off, it was I was kind of doing more like perma effects, but then after a time I was like, you know what? Maybe you should just have it be temporary. Maybe these extra limbs they kind of go away after like 10 minutes. But in any case, but I do have a couple of questions, and a couple of them kind of have to do about archaeology as well. But I'll let how about we let Chad do a pick, like from a couple of.
If it's about archaeology, I promise I will do my best to give simple answers and not go into a 3-hour lecture, because I do not have that much time today.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. So Chad. So look, if y'all are there watching, I got a couple of categories for questions to ask, or you can ask your own questions. So questions about archaeology, questions about his game that he's got going right now. Questions about what he's done so far, as far as working with other people and his friends that are streamers and like big time YouTubers, or maybe some fun crossover questions about things that happened while he's been here in the Archives channel. So that's the big major buckets categories.
I'm waiting.
If no one from chat wants to pick, Ian, Archaeist, what would you choose as your? Or do you want to roll a d6? Maybe roll a d6. Actually,
yeah,
cool.
we should do this in D&D fashion and roll a die. Right. Do you want me to roll, or do you got it?
You can roll. You can go ahead and be the one.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I haven't used the old parchment die in a while. Give me 1 second. I would roll the amethyst die I got for my birthday a couple years ago, but that only likes me when I'm DMing, and it likes to be a sarcastic little shit every other time.
Oh shit.
Alright. I'll just tell you the number, you tell me what category that is.
Sure, absolutely.
2.
2, archaeology, career, and expertise. Okay, so...
Alright.
You want to roll a d20, I guess?
Alright, 1 second. I forgot that these ones are little tricksters. 6!
6. Okay, so... 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, whenever you go out to do your archaeology digs, like what tools do you use most often that you think would actually surprise people that don't know much about it?
Surprise?
Yeah, like maybe things that people wouldn't expect that you would use.
Alright, so I remember I actually did a TikTok on the D&D archaeological background and my gripes with it, which are many. No crowbars, no 10-foot poles, no whips, no revolvers, especially no fedoras unless you're that type of guy. Actually, one of my professors was that type of guy, but anyway.
Oh, no, not the neckbeards.
Actually, no, he just sort of leaned into the stereotype because he had a really odd sense of humor, and honestly, I did love his classes.
It's like the Indiana Jones stereotype. Is that what you're mentioning?
Yeah. No, because at my field school that we did through my undergrad, This was in Italy, and before you say anything, this was the cheapest field school I could attend, but it was very good.
Italy, oh nice. Italy's a great place.
Yeah, no, it was like $2,000 for the summer, but that is like very cheap for an archaeological field school, believe me.
Yeah, I mean that's cheap for like school anywhere, I guess, in America.
Yeah. But it's like a lot of times the local towns, as part of like them helping us out with like permitting and such, it's like, oh yeah, they bring in an elementary group, and sometimes with the younger kids it's really difficult keeping them away from the sensitive stuff, because you know, okay, if you're leaning on the bulk, the dirt's going to start collapsing, and we need that for stratigraphy. Or if they're getting really too close to like some item, like, hey, let me just pop this pottery shirt out of the dirt before the archaeologist can even get to it.
Oh god. Okay. So
yeah, no, it's
this kind of raises...
one.
Go ahead.
It was really funny because they were telling me like one time there was this kid that was getting too close, trying to get handsy with almost all the objects on the site, even the tools and everything else. And there was one volunteer helper who unfortunately had a bit of palsy that summer, so part of his face was frozen. And he was like, the kid was like, so what happened to your face? And the guy was like, don't touch the artifacts.
Don't touch it. Oh, and they're cursed. They're cursed, kid.
Yeah. No, it was funny. But yeah, no, it's a lot of the stuff is gonna be like pretty similar, like your scientific tools, stuff that you'd see like geologists using and such. So like our trowel, and not like actually give me 1 second, I'm gonna disappear here, not like a mason's trowel or gardening trowel. People often get this confused. Oh god, it's been a while since I've been able to take this guy out. Okay, where did you go?
I'm going to guess that it's probably a shovel-like object. My guess.
No, actually not.
Okay.
So alright, it got shoved in the back where I can't reach it. But anyway, you actually have a bit of a diamond-shaped head, and it's just flat, and you have a bit of a curve on it. No, bricklayer trowel, those things are like massive. If you try and use that for precision in field work, one guy actually brought a mason's trowel to the site once. God, no. Because that's something you do see in field schools a lot. A lot of students, especially who haven't taken archaeology classes, come in with mason's trowels, garden trowels, but it's an archaeological pointing trowel. I like the 4.5-inch one. It's small. You mostly use it for scraping and articulating. That is like developing a layer, cleaning it off, so you can see like the color of the dirt, any inclusions that are in it, because we're not just going willy-nilly digging random ass holes and popping stuff out of the ground. That's called looting.
Gotcha. you know, and talking about looting, so like the last time that you did an archaeological dig and you like broke into like a lich's lair in an ancient temple with a dragon, like how realistic were the traps compared to what D&D made?
If I ever was in that situation where there were traps, we wouldn't even get past the entry chamber. We'd just be there drawing diagrams and schematics and slowly dismantling the traps to see how they worked.
Oh god.
And to see how well they were preserved. What can that tell us about the culture that made them? Did the Lich King have like a really good industrial process? Like how were the workers treated? Did they have like their own little provisions, that sort of thing? That would be more of the archaeologist's purview than like Indiana Jones, that's like, let me destroy all of the traps and then take everything out of context so we can't study it.
Oh man, you know.
So yeah,
you know, I could just imagine like maybe it's like, you know, one of the workers that set up the trap a long time ago, he's just kind of like, you know what, I'm just gonna take it easy today. I'm not really gonna set the trap up. Just like doesn't set it up, and it's like the one trap that gets judged that defines the entire thing. It's funny.
That actually is like that is called survivorship bias. This happens in almost every science, even like engineering. Like for example, like military surveys of planes coming back from battle. Yeah. Oh, we should armor the things that get shot. No, armor the areas that don't get shot because those are the planes that make it back.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, actually, I've heard of that before.
Yeah, so when you have archaeological surveys, they're targeted at overall patterns on a site, and if a site is deemed of archaeological importance, that's usually because it has certain levels of concentration that we don't see anywhere else.
Okay, so let's say that you know, like you read a dig, right? And then all of a sudden, like Bug and a couple of other people that are in our chat show up, and they just start smashing everything and like taking things because you know that's what they saw in D&D. It's what we do.
Depending on where you are, that would be considered a felony offense.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So I guess like at what point does it become a felony? Is it like you guys have to set up a place ahead of time? It's got to be like set up with like gloves and stuff, or like how do you do that?
So most of the time surveys are in conjunction with like construction or infrastructure projects where not only are we permitted to use the land, but our presence is mandated by cultural preservation laws, because you don't just want to bulldoze everything. That's happened a lot in the past. The purpose of a lot of these cultural preservation laws is to take the information that would otherwise be destroyed and preserve it for future study and for future concern, especially to descendant groups, which archaeologists in the real world often work closely with.
I see. Okay.
So yeah, the purpose of archaeology as a science is not only community identity, but historical preservation from the material sense, understanding how things were made, how things were done in a social or cultural context, what developments characterize certain areas and locations at certain times, and just understanding these overall trends that would otherwise be forgotten.
Okay, that actually does raise a very good point. And I know that we talked about this before, but I believe you made a archaeology D&D supplement.
Actually, one of my friends did, Nathaniel Fosse, and I actually got to get in contact with him again. He's a hard guy to get a hold of, and I keep forgetting to email the friend who knows how to get a hold of him.
It's okay. Well, I guess like my question kind of like revolves kind of close to that, because archaeology, I mean, the way you're describing it, it's very different than what we do in D&D, and it's portrayed in this movie, clearly.
Exactly, yeah.
But like, it sounds like it's a giant mystery where you were trying to figure out pieces of how things kind of were, but you're preserving them, and you're trying not to like mess with them too much.
It's an interdisciplinary science. I mean, of course, we have the anthropological purview of questions of culture and society, but we also have the scientific purview of like chemical signatures, soil composition, material makeup, and patterns of degradation. Just these overall things of analyzing not only objects, but the sites they come from, because that's inseparable. Thank you for the follow. But yeah.
Okay.
It's a completely different thing to what you see in, well, most of the movies. Probably one of the better, I hesitate to say least dramatized version of it, is The Dig that was on Netflix for a while, which is a more dramatized version of the personal relationships that happened during the original Sutton Hoo dig in England. Which is a very important early Anglo-Saxon site and burial. If you've ever been to the British Museum, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's that sort of thing where it's like, it's about science, it's about study, it's not about glory, it's not about objects. Once you start going specifically for monetary value and selling things in the black market, now you've entered looting territory.
Yeah, at that point, it's like there's a conflict of interest there because it's no longer preserving history.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we don't make our money off artifacts. We don't make our money selling things to museums. Again, those are looters and antiquarians and dilettantes, and something that belongs firmly in the 19th century.
Okay, so like kind of like hearing all of this now, so kind of like understanding and knowing how like people like playing D&D, right? And, like games and stuff. Like what would you say maybe might be like a more like I guess accurate way of portraying archaeology in D&D, but also having it be fun as well, so it's not like getting too deep into science and nitty-gritty.
One thing I would recommend, a bunch of archaeologist friends and we have a podcast on Spotify called This Campaign in Ruins, run by Dane Kahn, otherwise known as Archeo Viking.
There'll be a link somewhere in the description.
I'll add one later when this goes on YouTube. Yep. But anyway, so the whole point of that is we're playing archaeologists in a far future version of Faerun. And so it's like we work with an academic organization called the Order of the Cruciform Trowel because yes, most archaeologists are indeed nerds with a huge sense of humor. But I mean, it makes sense. If you go into this thing as a degree, we are a bunch of hyper-focused ADHD nerds. No mistaking.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's usually you have some sort of an association with a governmental or academic body. You're paid by that body to survey areas and basically take as detailed notes as you can and preserve what you can, because traditional types of archaeological excavation, and the reason why a lot of the natural scientists shit on us, is it's naturally destructive. You can't repeat it. So using our best methods available, you need to get the most information we can. And if we don't have a reason to dig anywhere, guess what? We don't.
Because it's destructive. You gotta dig and you gotta move stuff around. That makes sense. And then you expose things to like the elements. That makes it worse, probably. Yeah, and
that's the thing. The safest place for an archaeological site is under the dirt.
Keep it right down there. We're gonna have to get
keep it right down there. If there's something that's gonna destroy it anyway, like a road or a residential complex, yeah, we'll go in. But like, you know, then you end up with time frames and certain types of archaeology, like commercial archaeology, as it's called in the States, or preventive archaeology, as it's called elsewhere. So that like you have a bunch of bodies like in the UK, or you have like INRAP in France. You have similar organizations. Yeah, the same thing. Also, they'll hire archaeologists to go in, for example, during the California and Hawaii wildfires, a lot of archaeologists were hired to help assist on the cultural preservation level and just being able to identify certain types of remains.
I was there whenever they were trying to do some basic construction. I think I was in Hawaii for 3 years. It took 2 years for them to get like one approval. There was like all of this back and forth, and yeah, it's just like this long, very serious process they go through.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why construction in most countries takes ages, is because there's a whole host of professionals coming in for archaeology, for biology, ecology, making sure A, we're not trampling over someone's cultural heritage, B, you're not going to get sick living there, so on and so forth.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And you know, how long have you been doing archaeology now for?
Well, I immediately started going with my undergrad. I started 2017. Things did have to slow down during the pandemic, and I ended up getting my master's overseas almost immediately after the pandemic ended, which, oh my god, going from quarantine to a just totally new country, that was an experience. But like, no, I met a lot of people, met a lot of professionals, learned a lot about the field. Unfortunately, the current political climate here in the States, where I have to remain for familial reasons for like the next year or so, not really conducive to my field. But, you know, be that as it may, I don't want to go fully into that because I know where that goes.
I got you.
Yeah.
No, okay, so then, Afterfall, that's the name of the game you got going. Tell us a little bit more.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that. Maybe if you got any archaeology.
Oh.
Or what? Just tell us whatever you like about Afterfall. I mean, it's this whole. I know we've talked about it for like quite a while, and it got me excited. And I'm sure it's gonna excite everyone as well once we start talking about it.
So yeah, it's a far future post-apocalypse steampunk D&D campaign set in Earth. Which I do my best to make things tasteful because, you know, there are certain cultural things that you got to be aware of sensitivity wise when you're working with real stuff. And so it's like the whole point of the campaign is you find work as mercenaries, which in this day and age has become synonymous with the term adventurer because everything is true. Magic is here. You have gods, you have mythical creatures, you have elves, dwarves, orcs, gnomes, the whole nine. And they're more than nine. I'm using slang. But your job is basically, through your company, you're met up with clients and they send you on jobs. Much like you would in like a traditional D&D setting, except it's now corporatized. So it's like you're gonna have ethical quandaries with that. There's also one of the names of the game is diversity and freedom of thought and exercise. So it's like it's gonna be fun. There's gonna be moments that are gonna be terrifying as well. Moments that are gonna be funny because if you've read any of my short fiction, because I write as a hobby, well, I do have a bit of a whimsical bent as well. Oh yeah, no, I'm a bit of what my dad used to call a Renaissance man. I have many hobbies that I can do equally well.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's good to have a wide range of things that you like. I mean, it has a lot of personality. I think whenever you have a lot of things that we can talk about, you know.
Yeah. No, we had a great first session a couple weeks ago, and next week is session 2. Awesome. So if you've so follow if you want to keep up with that. Also, in my channel in the About section, there is a link for Discord. I will also do this, so you can keep up with all the changes, because my schedule do be hectic. But I do like streaming and hanging out with you all.
And when is it that they could probably expect to see like episodes of Afterfall?
So first one's up on YouTube right now.
Okay.
Second one's gonna be on March 15th at 3 p.m. on my channel live. Hopefully the next few days after that I'll put that on YouTube as well. And you can get the links, all that, through Discord or my Twitch. They're all on there.
Okay, so it's not like set at like a pre-designated time. It's like whenever y'all have a chance to meet up.
Whenever we have time. Okay. Same thing with this campaign in Ruins, and also our upcoming project with a few people, Bloodpunk, which is like a vampire setting. Where I'm going to be playing a very eccentric Dampier.
Again with the Dampiers, there's a pattern.
Oh yeah, you gotta, there's something about it roleplay wise. It's just fun.
It is.
You know?
Yeah. Everyone like has their niche. Yeah, like for me, I like playing really backwards characters. The last one that I made, it was Zoodle -1 int and con. Could just like be blown over with a breeze. It's man, and then it was Miracle before that, and then you already know. oh yeah. But yeah, no.
With the Afterfall setting though, I've been writing that since like the early years of the pandemic, because my classes went online. I was starting to lose contact with a lot of my friends, and all of a sudden, I was reading one of my. I took an elective in North Atlantic medieval literature, and I read a poem called The Prophecy of Britain, which was like the medieval version of alternate history, alternate future.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, hey, what if the Celtic nations rose up and took back Britain? And I'm like, you know what if that happened? What if this weird ass political movement happened? And so it's like I just came up with all of these weird scenarios and then just added steampunk into it for some strange reason. And I don't know, I was obsessed with it at the time, but it's a really cool subgenre of speculative fiction. But anyway, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of not seeing my friends. I'm tired of not talking with people. For fuck's sake, I need a hobby. And I started DMing my first campaign with it as a playtest with a bunch of college friends, plus my dad, who was like, hey, I know you're having trouble getting people to convince to do it. You can say you have one player. And so, yeah, that was honestly the highlight of my life during that time, because a bunch of my friends that I otherwise would have lost contact with, I was able to keep together through this crazy ass setting.
It's good. That means they must have really liked your game.
Oh yeah. And it's like in the first days of the campaign, it was also like, so what did you base this location off of? And I'm like, I will not tell you that. You're gonna have to guess. And they started doing that with characters. There was basically like this grandmother-like NPC that they were like, we are adopting her. And they turned her into like their housemaid / like tavern manager sort of thing.
Right.
And she keeps having all of these improv mysteries that I add in there, and they're trying to figure out who is this person. And I'm debating whether I'm gonna put her in the main campaign for this one though. But
you know what? I mean, you might as well now. I mean, it's always nice to have kind of like recurring characters like that. You know? I mean, I think it'd be a blast. It did.
Yeah, no, it's always the improv recurring characters. I also had one guy who was a ghost named Franz, who was a fashion designer obsessed with polka dots one time.
Okay. Polka dots on everything.
And he had like a really wild backstory that I came with on the spot too, because he had like a really fruity accent. And I a lot of my friends are queer, especially like the people who were in that specific playtest. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go full tilt, something that'll make them laugh their asses off.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, well, like tell us a couple things. Like, what is it that you did with this character that was so great?
It was meant to be a one-off thing to make them go, what the hell is this ghost doing here?
Yeah.
They ended up begging me to bring Franz back. So there was a couple character deaths that they ended up getting true resurrection because of story reasons. And when they were brought back, they were in like this revivification ward of a hospital. Because magic setting.
Right.
And there was this other mercenary who had not fared well and was getting revived, but his soul didn't want to come back, so instead Franz came back into this person whose physique did not match his personality at all. Yeah. Oh my god, it was probably one of the best things. I have a lot of characters like that, some of which I'm probably gonna bring back, but yeah.
You know, I mean, it sounds like a great time. I mean, I think that you and I have very similar GM and play styles. So anyone that knows how I run my games, I think that's how you would expect Ian to run his games. I remember we were talking when I was starting to make a character in your campaign, because I was going to be in it until I ran out of time.
Yeah, no, that's
and
fair.
then I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I would do. Okay, and then I was making him, and I was like, yep, this seems very, very close to home for me. So it was like very lighthearted, whimsy, but also a little bit serious.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because it's like a lot of folklore is don't go into the woods because X, or, you know, don't stay in the ocean because Y.
Right.
And so it's like, you have these things that are all based on like fear and weakness and sin, but at the same time, I'm just a jolly rogue, you know.
Oh, it's so true. So I guess like tell us a little bit about what happened like with the first episode of Afterfall. How did it play out? Like what are the players like?
Oh god. So if you're gonna watch it, I'll just give like a brief overview. So they had all come to Boston, where their mercenary company was headquartered, because outside of the city they had their own little training ground called Fort Nowhere. So they spent the night in a tavern on the company dime. One character immediately got drunk and started fighting everyone.
As one does.
The other characters were like, what the hell is going on here? One beer for me, please. And just like, there was this like ogre bouncer who just got his shit wrecked by the barbarian who was drunk. And just like, they learned that this ogre was just the sweetest guy, but he's not too good at his job. And it's just, yeah. There was a bunch of stuff like that. They had to then go to the other side of the city. Shenanigans ensued when one of them didn't want to get on the tram.
Oh, no.
Then they were able to finally make it in time to leave to go to Fort Nowhere, which is where the company is sending them for their orientation. And Minuteman family orientation is in fact trademarked. But
oh really, is it? Okay.
Oh yeah, no, it's just a bunch of random things are trademarked, because I was really just leaning into the corporate nightmare theme. But
of course. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and yeah, over the course of the campaign, you're gonna be wondering whether this organization is good or evil. But...
You know, I feel like that's a very relatable question, especially about the party, what they're gonna end up doing.
Well, yeah, because it's all about like whose interests does something serve, and do you just want to be paid?
It's very true.
Yeah.
And so, like, what can you tell us about this organization? Like, I guess without like major spoilers,
okay.
I guess.
So this is Minuteman Universal Security. They've been around for a little under 2 centuries, since the technological bloom of this period 1200 years in the future. And they exist amongst burgeoning industry, swelling population centers, and basically like the renaissance of Earth and its cultures after an abject tragedy that affected practically everyone. And so they show up, like, you have some unsavory characters claiming to be adventurers who are just looking for an easy con job, and you have some clients that are like, okay, what fodder can I send where? And so the company arose as a means of vetting both client and adventurer and creating the mercenary.
I see, okay.
So they essentially became an extraordinarily powerful middleman.
So whenever you created all of this, like how far and how deep did you like take like the ethical considerations and like dilemmas of everything?
A lot. Because before a lot of certain things in my personal life, I was a very political and philosophical person. So when I started writing this, I was a little punchy. And okay. I've since toned it down to a respectable entertainment level. But a lot of the influences and social commentary never really disappeared because I couldn't bring myself to outtake certain things. Because it's just, I want to make people question not necessarily reality, but their interpretation of reality. Because interpretation and perception is almost all of the game.
That's true, yeah, like it's, I think that I heard a statistic once that players pick up about 30% of everything that's picked that basically gets put out in a game. So like 70% of it just kind of doesn't get remembered between sessions or like overall, right? And so like I guess like with saying that, like what would you say, maybe like have they like already like missed anything that you kind of put out there, or maybe they went off in a different direction than you kind of expected they would?
Well, that's the thing. I know the way I normally design my sessions and almost everything is, rather than a railroad, I use a funnel. So it's like you can do whatever you want, but in order to progress with the main storyline, there's a specific objective with a very huge reward.
That makes sense.
Like where it's like it's almost irresistible to complete.
It's like a giant carrot on a stick for them to keep going forward. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but this carrot is like, I don't know, filled with like chocolate or something addicting, and like,
no.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's one of these things of, all right, you can do whatever you want. You want to design a tavern, fine. You want to burn a bar to the ground, fine. But not only are you going to have to deal with the consequences of that later, but you have this main objective, which is going to be made easier or more difficult based on your side choices.
There it goes. There we go. That's the thing, right? It's like, oh, you want this thing? Oh, well, I'm going to make it a little harder now. No, you want it easier? Oh, just kind of like teasing him a little bit.
You kicked this businessman in the balls. Guess what? You need to get information out of him now.
Don't kick the businessman in the balls, please, players. I'm just kidding.
No, you can if you want. You can if you want. Yeah.
I guess if someone did, would that make it easier or harder to get towards the goal then? Hypothetically speaking.
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
Like, if you had to interrogate this businessman to begin with, maybe with an intimidation rolls, you can remind him of the ice pack he put on, but and how long it took him to not be in pain. But if it's more of like, oh, we need to gently talk to him, we need to convince him to divulge it. No, you kicked me in the balls yesterday.
Oh man.
It's there's a huge emphasis on choice, but there is like in a lot of, like, for example, an open world RPG, you can do almost anything in any order you want, but in order to get to a point where you can be better or have more resources at your disposal, you need to do a specific thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, how big did you make your environments? Because it sounds like they have a lot of space for them to move around, or at least they have a lot of choice on where they can go.
Well, yeah, just because it is on Earth, a lot of it is based on like theater of the mind and more vague representations of certain things. But if there is like a huge engagement, usually I'll have like a battle map or something. For major areas, I'll prepare certain things. Otherwise, all right, you show up in Shittingtonville, where there are 5 houses and a butcher.
Oh god. So then, all right. So now I got like another question, because I'm really curious. So between D&D and archaeology, like you have Afterfall, you have your archaeology stuff, right? So how much of it did you actually like overlap each other?
A lot, because I mean, I'm passionate about literature, I'm passionate about like philosophy and ethics, I'm passionate about history and material culture, and a lot of that is extremely useful in world building.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And so it's like, a lot of this I tried to grow organically, where it's a lot of reaction a lot of reaction and decision happening in certain things, but there's also that element of random chaos that can tip scales one way or the other.
So then whenever you kind of made these worlds, then kind of like keeping that in mind. So like, how much do you like plan at the end with like having that random aspect of it? Like how does that play in with like your planning?
Well, on the world building side, sometimes it's literally the top of the die, or like a toss of the die. Other times it's just like, all right, certain place gets flooded. How do people react to that? They will react to the fact that it's flooded, but that'll have major implications going forward as to how they solve that crisis. So it's like branching decisions. Okay. Of course you have impetus, but there's always the element of free will and human nature.
Right. Okay. So I guess then. Oh man.
And on the GMing side, I can't plan for everything. I have a certain handful of NPCs. If you want to talk to the bartender, guess what? His name's Tim. He's a human. He is offering you a beer.
Yeah. It's. I mean, it definitely sounds like a really good time. I really am looking forward to make the next session. You said it's on the 15th, right? So
on the 15th, yeah. I mean, we can talk afterwards. I don't mind shoving you in there as sort of like a guest type thing. But
it's definitely possible. It depends on. Oh, that's right. The alpha releases this week, so maybe not this week.
Okay. Maybe not this week. Right. Also, I'm gonna ask everyone else how they feel about 5 people rather than 4, because I felt 4 was a nice even number, and I was gonna wait to start canvassing people for guest appearances. Like maybe like a month or 2.
Yeah, kind of give them some time to settle and connect with each other a bit more.
Yeah, because a couple of my friends who wanted to do this campaign but were way too busy for various reasons were like, "Well, let me know if there's like a hit I can meet," you know.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Get something established first before adding people.
Oh, and oh my god, I was so happy. The first episode for that, I had the highest viewer average I've had in like half a year.
Nice.
But it's like, yeah, it's probably gonna be the big thing for a little while, and you know what? I'm happy with it. This setting is my baby. But I like to see what people do with it, because it's just, if I want to write a book, I can write a book.
Yeah, I can tell you're very passionate about it, because I mean, the way you talk about it, like you talked about it a lot the last 2 years, and every time you start to get really excited. So like, how far are you wanting to, like, what are your aspirations or goals with this? Like, where do you want it to end up in, like, I don't know, in like about a year?
Well, in about a year, I hope there's a lot more people watching it than right now. But overall, I just want to have fun with something I've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into. Something that's brought me a lot of joy, and that I personally hope can offer people a lot of joy as well. Because it's just... it's nice seeing the fruits of your labor giving something back.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I can empathize with that a lot. And you've been working on it for, you said, since around COVID time, so that's like six years, I think? It's a long time. About that?
I'm gonna say 5 years, because I know I've been DMing a little over that time. And I know I've been playing D&D for a little bit longer than that, so
Yeah, so that's a lot of time, because like a lot of people, there aren't many people that could say they've invested like 5 or more years in studying, and you did all that before even like streaming it first. So like you have all of this context like that goes behind it, kind of like help make it good.
I'm always busy, and there are aspects of my life that are a higher priority of this, because guess what? I'm a person with real life goals. But this is one thing. D&D has become one of my chiefest hobbies, and it's always the question of, you know, what's gonna bring me joy, what's gonna bring me closer to that feeling of satisfaction at the end of the day. And just, I love being able to just have this thing that I've worked so hard on, but with that added collaborative touch with people whose company I just simply enjoy.
Yeah, and you're seeing them like enjoying it, and you're enjoying seeing them enjoying. I totally get what you mean. It's a really nice feeling, and I think that the way you're describing, I think it's gonna come through very well to the audience. I can already tell. I mean, even we're just talking about it. I mean, I can just imagine you playing and running it. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, like, it's going to be March 15th, right? At what time?
3 p.m. Eastern Standard.
3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know what? I'm going to have to write that down so I don't forget.
Put it in your calendars, guys.
March. There we go. Wrote it down. All right. Well, then, let's maybe talk a little bit about some, if you're okay with like some more personalized questions, if you're okay with that. Or maybe some random questions.
Sure.
What are you feeling?
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. Okay. So, like, ever since you started playing D&D and setting up After Fall, like, what have you noticed about yourself that maybe developed or grew? Like, what about yourself has changed in the last 5 years?
I think one thing is for certain, I've really been able to explore my creative side without the limitations of expectance. It's just something I can do freely and according to my whims and joys.
Yeah.
And having people be okay with that because they didn't have a better plan to begin with. And so it's like being able to come up with things on the fly, but also be able to reconcile it with the things that I wanted to achieve. And my cat is snoring, which is incredibly distracting.
I can slightly hear it in the background.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, that's one thing. And even like DMing, I notice I've become a better writer too, both academically and with my fiction and everything else, because it's just the idea of, all right, Sammy Jim the Wizard is able to defeat this because why, or they have family problems because reason. You know, just being able to come up with that base and then build upon it, flesh it out, and be like, yes, the saga of Sammy Jim, the greatest wizard of our time, a legend in every household's lips, and just like fucking going off. But yeah, it's so there's that. I think the other thing too is like really discovering a lot of my passions, because like I've dedicated a lot of time to my education, but conversely I've had to give up a lot of hobbies and social life because of it. And it's the thing of realizing who I am outside of the things I am proficient in. And how I relate to other people, which I think has probably been one of the biggest lessons.
Yeah, that makes sense, because D&D is a game where you connect with other people and you have this shared narrative, so it does make a lot of sense to kind of build a lot on that aspect. Have you noticed like aspects of your personality maybe have changed in the last couple years because of it?
I don't know. I've always been a pathological introvert, and almost every time I convince myself to be outgoing, I need about at least 2 hours of silent downtime afterwards. But
I feel that.
Maybe just like grab a cup of coffee or tea and a little light snack and just scream at the wall.
Scream at the wall. It's like, what's that
or
sound?
Something.
Oh, it's just Ian. He hanged out with his friends again. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, he had a really productive day today. Okay.
It's like, no, those are the good screams. Trust me, you'll know when they're the bad screams.
What's that banging sound? Oh, it's probably his head against the wall.
You like look, they're like, oh yeah, no. There's the undead right there.
Yeah. No, I've been getting better about that. There's a reason. Therapy. But
Therapy helps.
But yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's something I've had to swallow my pride and accept a lot of my insecurities, especially with a lot of this too. If you need help, get it. But
yes, see a professional if you need help.
Yeah, no, it's because I do come from the culture of, oh, everyone's self-sufficient, be a manly man, and it's just like, No. Sometimes you need a helping hand along the way, whether that's personal or chemical. And I do mean psychological medications, not drugs.
Good distinction, right? Yeah, very important.
Yeah. See a psychiatrist, not the guy on the corner. But this has been a PSA.
Drink your water, exercise, go to school, listen to your mother sometimes. What else can you add to that?
Just take care of yourself is the big thing.
Right.
And just recognize when you need a helping hand. It's probably one of the biggest lessons anyone can learn.
That's true. Yeah, like adulting is hard. Taking care of yourself is like the best investment like anyone could. Like goes into like learning skills and like putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, drinking water, all those things. It all helps.
Yeah. And just even if things like, I wonder if I can bake bread. If you got the time and supplies, give it a shot.
So I know you like, and I know you just barely started with like streaming in Afterfall, but I think I could objectively say like you're like a little bit ahead of maybe someone that hasn't started streaming and maybe they're thinking about it. So, what would you give for advice for people that are maybe wanting to go along the path that you're on right now?
Well, first of all, realize my path is slower than molasses on a cold winter's day, but realize you need to learn your limits. You're only going to learn your limits by pushing your limits, but just don't continue pushing your limits. That's lesson 1. Learn from your mistakes, which is a continuation of lesson 1. Connect with people, and if you find someone you trust with good advice, work with them, talk with them, ask them how they did things, just, personal one-on-one or in a small group, like, hey, I notice you've had success with X, is there any advice you can give me that I could maybe implement in my own way? Because, we're not carbon copies of each other. All advice can only be taken to the extent that it works for you.
Right. That's good advice.
So it's learn from your mistakes, network, and use that network to your advantage. Even if that means hanging out with someone over Discord, having coffee,
That's true. And, and I think
make those connections, make those friendships.
And networking, like really, like, especially in this space, because it's all about playing with friends, going on an adventure, working together. And so sometimes networking can be very hard. So like, and for some people that could be a little hard. So do you have any advice maybe for people that are kind of like more on the introvert side that maybe like don't know what to do or where to go or like what to do?
Yeah, like me, like I was. Honestly, it all started with one day of simply saying, fuck it. I was at the point where I decided, you know what? I need friends. And it's just... I know it's easy. I know what fuck it is easier said than done, certainly.
Right. Yep.
I know that as, as introverted as I am, as much, I have, all like the depression and the anxiety. I'm very open about that. But it's all about that one moment of courage that may or may not end up in your favor. If you get kicked to the curb, don't waste your time, try it with someone else. Eventually, you'll find the community that works best for you.
Yeah, that's right. And it's, I guess, like, kind of looking back, I think it's better to end up with, like, no regrets, right? Like, man, I really should have done that, but then, like, not tried at all. But, like, I guess the consequence of, like, trying when you have nothing to lose is nothing, right? That maybe that one person that you're maybe practicing your social skills with, but I digress. There will be more people, more communities, like you said, right? I think I'm not gonna say a specific name, but it kind of reminds me of one person that joined the archives, and he was really worried that I was gonna kick him out because he didn't know how to play D&D when we first met. So he was like begging me to like not kick him out, and I just met him. I'm like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? But like there are communities out there that are not that great and welcoming to new people. And so if that happens to you, like there are actually good people out there, good communities like ours, and Ian's place is very great. You can always go to Ian's Discord channel.
We just hang out, and sometimes we play games. Other times, when I can get people at the table, we do stuff.
So if you ever need a place to go chat with someone or talk, Archaeist's Discord channel, you can always come to the archives as well. But kind of more facilitated towards others, right? Safe spaces all around. Or we could like direct you to a place that you want to go. My place is more on West Marches. Archaeist is more kind of like general vibes of D&D, right? Like having a hangout spot.
We have an eclectic crowd. You can find almost anyone with any interest. Most of us, fair warning, are nerds.
Warning, there will be nerd talk. We'll talk about dice, our hyperfixations, coffee.
Yeah.
Lots of coffee.
Oh, there are hyperfixations abound in my channel. I got writers, got musicians, got scientists, the whole kit kabang caboodle, you know.
Oh man, yeah, no, I totally relate with that. I mean, because it's because D&D, I mean, we're all a bunch of nerds, and so one way or the other, like in and out of the game. If we're not talking about mechanics, we're talking about, hey, let's talk about this rock. I have a geologist in my West March. She's, I fucking love her. We called her Boulder Mommy, but anyway.
Jesus Christ.
Look, we're very comfortable with each other. That's how you know. I guess you made us friends.
Yeah, no, I've just accepted it at this point. I mean, you know my limits.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is funny.
Yeah. No. I'm very, very aware. I think like every time we do play D&D together, I'm trying to think like of my it's hard to pick a favorite moment. But I think one of my most favorite. No, I think I know what from recently. You're the whole reason, complete by a Wheel of Chaos during the first Astalian mini marathon. You said something with your character, and it turned all of the enemies into baby eggs.
I was just trying to get them to stop fighting, and then Wheel of Chaos was just like, babies.
Stop fighting. Okay, we're gonna make everyone into babies and forget about the violence. And so it was
the first step of conflict resolution is regression, physically.
you must undo the learning that you had. Okay, not that far. That's a lot of learning.
Oh nope. Hit the rewind button. Okay, nope. The remote's out of batteries. Sorry about that.
We took the entire tape out and just reversed it, so now it's playing again. Oh man, I don't know. Do you know? Wait,
I gotta just drop something.
I'm not gonna ask. You know, I'll ask. Okay. Have you ever?
Oh fuck.
Have you ever had VHSs? Does anyone in the chat remember VHS? I think I'm that old. I can probably say that there's people that.
I have cabinets of VHSs downstairs. Do they still work? No clue.
Oh man, yeah. Like I think you have like an entire closet upstairs.
Oh yeah, no, because I know my dad had
that old Dakota 98. Welcome to the chat.
Welcome. Yeah. Oh my god, I remember my dad had a huge collection of like the Godzilla films, Doctor Who, like you know the first series for that. He has some like Bruce Lee ones, I think. Oh my god, there are so many VHSs down there.
Yeah, my parents have like some of the really old stuff, like stuff that was like black and white even. We would watch them on
repeat. Oh yeah. Oh my god. My dad ended up getting the road movies.
The road movies, okay.
Yeah, there's only one of them that's in color. But oh my god, they're fantastic. Super out of date, and I have no doubt some of the jokes do not land at all now. But
a lot of them don't age well, I'll be honest.
I know.
They really
don't. My god, all I'm gonna say is both my parents, well, my dad loves and my mom loves Holiday Inn. There's a certain number in February that shouldn't be shown in public.
Wait, are you talking about the hotel or are you talking about a movie? Like the Holiday Inn?
So Holiday Inn is a movie.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like she like, yeah, I just love this hotel franchise. It's like, okay, mom.
Yeah, no, because the whole thing in the movie is that they have a hotel that's only open on holidays, and it's run by this retired singer who has a thing for his co-star but refuses to say anything.
Ah, okay.
And so shenanigans ensue when one of his older partners, who can't stop trying to seduce all the women he's interested in, comes into town. And yeah, so it's like, there's a certain number for Abraham Lincoln's birthday in February that did not age well.
Okay. Huh.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Okay, so, alright. So,
you can probably look it up.
Okay.
I am not gonna put a content warning on this video.
Alright, so I got a couple of rapid fire questions. So I'm gonna list two things. You gotta pick one, okay? Alright. So, would you rather play D&D in a castle or rather play D&D in an archaeology dig?
In an archaeology?
Dig.
Was that in English?
In a dig site, basically. In a blah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Well, I would say the castle, because at least if it rains, it's not everything's not going to get wet, and we wouldn't have to put tarps over everything and spend a couple hours doing that.
Yeah, I guess so. It would be a little dirty.
Some things are just practical.
You would have to bring candlelight just to be like, what role was that? I don't know. I can't tell. It's too dark.
Freaking gnats.
Okay, so would you rather play with a character that's cursed from the start, or one that gets cursed like after the first session?
Ooh.
It's a hard choice.
Both, but with different characters.
Oh, man, yeah, like I feel like they would both just make good story. Like, and also, what's going on during the first session? You get cursed too. Like, where are we at? Like,
yeah, I don't mind a good backstory curse.
Okay.
But it's one of those things, especially if it's a low-level character. I am not giving you extra stats, dude. It is purely cosmetic.
Oh man. Okay. Next one. So, what D&D spell would you bring from D&D into this world? You have to pick one. Top of your head.
Prestidigitation.
Sometimes I just don't want to.
Yeah, sometimes I just want to like light a candle on the other side of the room, or like, oh, I'm waiting so long for my water to boil, and I really want my pasta. You know.
Some people boil pasta. Some people make other people's food taste like something else.
Oh yeah, no, if someone's giving me a whole bunch of shit, damn straight your muffin's gonna taste like skunk piss.
That's such a specific taste, too.
I know.
Oh no. I can smell it already. No, that's bad. That's terrible. We have a lot of skunks in Texas.
Same thing up here, yeah. Yeah, no, for reference, guys, I live in New England. Skunks, moose, coyotes, we got it all.
Okay, so trowel or brush?
They all have their specific uses.
You gotta pick one. So which one would you choose? You could only keep one.
If I choose one, I'm not gonna be doing much on the site that day.
It's like, okay, look, you get the brush and I get the trowel. It's like, okay, you like switch it back and forth.
All right, I got a whole bunch of dirt and we gotta take photos. Brushman, can you get? Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so would you rather have a mummy in your house or a freshly dead cadaver? Brush. Dakota said brush.
Nice. I'm gonna go with the mummy just because.
Okay.
I've been around dead things before and I don't like them fresh.
Honestly, that's fair. I have worked in the hospital and had a patient wake up to me after they declared dead. That was terrifying.
Oh! God!
I worked in the ICU, baby. They had brain damage. Oh no!
Oh no!
they were very damaged. They came back. They were actually young too. They were 19 years old. So it surprised all of us. We're like, what the fuck?
Whoa!
Yeah, like it gets crazy. Stuff like that just happens.
Yeah.
God. Anyway.
Oh no, I have no doubt.
So would you rather have an egg from a dinosaur, or would you rather have an egg from like an even older, more dangerous creature that used to like live in the ocean or something?
Question: fossilized or no?
Oh man. Okay, let's say that it is like still able to be hatched? The spell question, presentation, because
I don't care, because in that case, it's becoming an omelet.
Oh, you know what? I bet Tyrannosaurus Rex omelet would taste pretty good.
Maybe. Well, I hear they taste like chicken, so.
Oh my god, you're right. Yeah, I forgot they're descended. They're basically just giant chickens. Oh god.
Giant, even more murderous chickens.
I would sell the T-Rex egg. Nice. You know, I bet it would sell
Fair
for a
enough.
penny.
You would probably found InGen.
we're gonna be selling this thing on the black market, baby. It's not going to the museum, not at all.
It belongs in the late Cretaceous.
Oh man. Okay, so. Sorry. Oh, that was weird. Okay. Anyway, so
okay,
what would you say is like the most important lesson that you've learned, we'll say this year so far? It's only March, right? So it's been 90 days. That's enough time for something, anything.
This year so far, I've learned that I would prefer Canadian bureaucracy to American.
That's a really good one. that is
yeah,
a great
no,
one.
I go up to Canada every so often because that's where my partner is.
Yeah.
We do long distance, but luckily it's not that far away.
I learned that cancer can live inside a different kind of cancer. Yes, it can. You can have different types of cancers and cancers. Yep. Brain cancer has that kind of stuff. Oh man, I can talk about it all day. I'm not going to, but I can. Okay, so next one. So your community and my community, like it's of course very different. Like, what would you say are like some of like the main things that maybe people from the archives would enjoy most, or like maybe like would like get a lot of pleasure coming from your side to your side?
Okay. I think it's just more of that eclectic variety that has its own draw. I mean, granted, it doesn't get as much draw as like a super specific niche would, but it certainly attracts a certain kind of people that's like, you know what? I want more than one thing. I just want people that are just nice and interesting and fun to hang out with who don't drive me up the wall.
You know, that actually that's a very good point. Like
yeah,
because there are a lot of communities that, like, for example, mine focuses on a very narrow niche, and it didn't used to be that way. I know when we met it was more gaming and just general D&D, but then it went into like, okay, I'm only teaching professionals and game masters for West Marches. And so it's like, yeah, you can hang out in this really niche crowd, but sometimes you just want like a little bit more just variety of people to kind of you know, get topics going, learn a bit, kind of.
Oh, it's my space is very friendly from the neurodivergence, as I am one myself. My partner is one myself. Most of the members have some degree of neurodivergence.
Yep. It's very common in the TTRPG field.
Yeah, it's a very safe space for that, because it's true what they say, especially in these circumstances, that variety is the spice of life.
There's so much neurospice. The spices are plenty. We don't even think we can name them all. We even have flowers as spice.
Oh my god.
It is a spice, right? No, am I wrong about that? I think it is.
What, flour?
Flour.
What kind of flour?
Just flour. It's normal flour. Isn't it? You know what? I'm gonna look this up.
It's a grain derivative.
Oh, it's actually not considered a spice. I was wrong.
It's a grain, yeah.
Okay. No,
Star would be like, or it's like spice would be like anise or cinnamon or something that adds a specific flavor. No, if you just eat raw flour, you're gonna be like.
Flour is finely ground grain. This is okay. Look.
Yeah.
Dang. Facts with Paladin. No,
I'm getting backed up by Dakota over there.
Look,
getting ganged up on.
Right, you know, Dakota's got all the facts. Okay, so so beyond gaming and beyond archaeology, like what else is there to know like about you?
Well, there's those things. I got the writing going on. I do publish on vocal.media.
That's right. I did see that.
For short stories and such. Guys, if I'm gonna have a hobby that is made as a medium for transferring information and stories, why not do exactly that? You know?
So is it like, are you reading off your own short stories, or are you reading off like other people's short stories, or like tell us a bit about it?
So Vocal Media is a relatively new platform that replaces Medium and attempts to solve a lot of the problems on Medium in terms of how creators are recognized and paid, and also how commenters are modded and such, because that can be a big detractor for a lot of people on these public sites. Because a lot of these people, they're doing this as a hobby.
Right.
They wouldn't mind some pocket cash, but it's more of the thing of, hey, I wrote some poems, or I wrote a short story, or I'd like some feedback on a specific excerpt that I've done, and not expect to have all of this rigmarole to be able to do so. And so it's like, the only thing is because it's a new platform, there are a ton of writers, not that many readers yet.
I see. Like how new is it? Because I think the first time I heard about it was when I saw you post about it, like on your server.
Yeah, it can get pretty busy. I know I have what would be considered a moderate following on there. Because there are some people that like make a bunch per day, and I have no idea how they do it. I think they must just sit at their computer and put random stuff on and publish it. But like, there are a bunch of us, like a closer knit group of these writers who love what we do. We put our passion to it. Some of them are even published writers who just put their shorter work there for the hell of it. And so it's like, it's one of those things where instead of the rigmarole that Medium gives you, reading you can do absolutely free. There is a premium tier that helps if you're writing, but I would only suggest doing that if you're planning on doing a lot of writing.
See, okay. It sounds very...
But yeah, there's some great and interesting stuff on there. There's fiction, there's journalism, there's like passion pieces, fan fiction, bunch of communities for a lot of genres you can imagine.
Okay, so
they're adding more every day.
So is it like if someone was to go on there, would they kind of expect more like I know you're talking about all these different works, but is it like how long is it more like a podcast that you listen to for hours, or is it like little snippets here and there?
It depends on both the community and the author and like the specific piece you're viewing. Because I've seen like stanzas and 4-line poems, I've seen couplets, I've seen haikus. On the other side, I've seen entire freaking book chapters.
Okay, so there's something for everybody on there, it sounds like.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's actually really cool. Well, there you go. It's called Vocal... What is it one more time?
Vocal.media. There's a link to my profile in my Twitch and my YouTube and my Discord.
Awesome.
But
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, you can find it through that. There are a lot of great people on there. I've met a lot of great friends through that site as well. It's getting bigger. You know, there are a lot of writers on it now.
That's good. No, that's good. All right. Well, let's see. Where are we at with time? Oh, we've been talking already for a while. Look at that, hour and a half.
Oh yeah, hour and a half. Oh yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, it went super fast. Okay, so then I guess to kind of like start wrapping things up. So like, what are some things that maybe you would like people to know about you that maybe people like don't get to ask about, or maybe like don't know about you?
Just ordinarily, if you see me out around, I'm just kind of like a quiet, reserved, even-headed guy. I mean, I've got my own stuff going on in my private life and everything, but I'm just the kind of guy that'll give you the shirt off my back if you'll do the same for me. I'm just easygoing, just I do my best to just be friendly, just be that guy that people can hang around and not feel drained. You know,
of course.
That's my aim, really. And I prefer having friends than not, because honestly, it's a much less stressful way of living.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, I could imagine, like in the field that I'm in, like, I'm an entrepreneur, like, doing this as a business now. It's when, like, one of the saddest things is, like, yeah, you got this $1 million yacht and you're all alone on it. You know, having things to share with other people's stories, having people to, like, just connect with, that you share something into like valuable, like that's it means a lot. It really does. It has a lot of value.
And that's one of the things I've been choosy about what platforms I've been on. Like, I've been easing off of TikTok because I felt like it was really forcing me to be extremely formulaic and choosing more narrow areas than I really wanted, because it was just something I was doing for the hell of it anyway. But where they were trying to get me to make it a job, that's not what I'm there for. If I wanted to make it a job, I'd apply for, like, you know, one of the tech positions or something. But it's like, I'm just trying to be a creator, doing this in my free time. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Like, TikTok is a good spot. I mean, there's so many people on there that are D&D. Reddit's also another good one.
Yeah.
And Discord, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's people all over the place.
Because I do try to make a presence on Discord, like, in, you know, the handful of communities that, you know, I do have friends in, and just sort of being that friendly guy, you know, that, like, you show up and you smile rather than be like, oh.
No, it's good. It's good to have that reputation. Be the guy that someone.
I do my best. I'm human. I have emotions. It's just I just like being the easygoing guy.
Yeah, you know, I think that is really good. It's a really good trait to have. Yeah. It's good to be someone that can be easy to get along with. On the complete opposite end of that, I think I could say that I used to be that way. I don't want to say that I'm not, but my expertise and my goals have grown so out of what is normal or what people would be considered most common that it's kind of like that's why I had to make a community like this in the archives, where it's more centered around professionals and people wanting to grow their skills. But like, the higher you go, the number of people kind of becomes smaller. And so, you know, I just like to be able to help people like yourself and other people to get connected with each other and have a spot where they can make it. It makes it easier for people to get where they want to go. But there's not many communities like that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I wanted to create. I mean, it's just, I prefer having the company. I prefer having various sorts of expertise and passions and hobbies, and just like being that person where people are not afraid to be themselves around.
Yeah, like they can unmask, they can just let loose. I think that's really valuable for people to feel safe to do that, because it's hard sometimes to like be vulnerable to that degree, because you never know how people are going to react. I know that we have a couple people in the community that are like that feel safe, like unmasking like autism, and they'll say some really crazy shit, and I'm like, you know what, I love it. I love the chaos. I'm not going to tell it to anyone else, but you said that and it came out of your mouth, and
oh yeah, no, like,
and it's a completely
I'm a New Englander through and through. In private chats, I'm swearing like a sailor, worse than you've heard in this. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's and it's completely okay. I think that I think that a spot like that is good. I mean, there needs to be places like that people can go to feel that they can just relax, relax for a moment. But in any case, is there anything else that maybe you would like to talk about, or maybe you want to ask any questions, or ask any questions to chat, or if chat would like to ask any questions?
90 minutes. I think we've covered a lot. I mean,
yeah, and I feel like we just barely scratched the surface. But of course, you've been alive for. I'm not gonna dox you, but of course, you've been alive for over 18 years. So of course, it's like
that's an understatement, but yes,
that's an understatement.
I turned 26 last month. I think I'm a little ahead of that.
Oh shit. I'm over here sitting at 32. Well, I feel
yeah.
I got to that stage where like okay, so I guess this is a little bit TMI, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So I got to that stage, and I'm gay, so like I oh man, they started calling me daddy, and I'm like, no, no, please no. It was just last week, and I'm like, no, don't say that. It's too young. Oh man.
Oh god.
Look, it's nice getting to grow old and like living through these different ages. Like I remember being 18 and 21 and 25, and now I'm past 30, and I'm like, okay, I can understand the 30-year-olds of my 18-year-olds. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see it the same. I get it.
Oh yeah. No, I remember post grad, I was living on campus to save money, and I didn't have enough time to cook dinner one night, so I decided, you know, fuck, I'm going into the dining hall to get dinner. And what was playing? I think it was like Party Rockers or something, and some kid goes by me like, oh wow, that's an old song. And I'm like,
no, that's an
how
old
is that
song.
an old song?
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of things that I see nowadays, and I'm like, oh yeah, Skyrim. No, that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, oh yeah, like Fallout 4. No, like that. It's a lot further back than you think.
Oh yeah. No, because just for funsies, like around my birthday, I started playing Dishonored on my channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, not a huge draw-in, but it was one of those things of I'm having fun, deal with it. And
right.
It's like, for as old as the game is, like the graphics stand up, the voice acting for the most part is decent, and it's just like it is really smooth and engaging gameplay, but it's 15, 16 years old. I'm trying to remember.
Really? It's that old? Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Hold on. You just took me
hey guy,
Hold on.
No, the original Dishonored game.
Oh, the original one. Okay.
Yeah. That was released in 2012.
That's when D&D came out. Like 5e, I mean 5e.
Yeah, the 5e, yeah. Holy crap.
I remember it like it was 13 years ago. Oh man.
Oh wait a minute.
I think it was like in the early, like in the first half of 2012. I mean, I believe. As someone in my 40s, I can definitely say 32 is still young. Oh, thank you.
Listen,
you know, like, look, I'm young to somebody. Look, it makes me feel young again. Okay.
Oh my god.
No, like
at least you don't have a squad of 20-year-olds being like, oh, you're old. I'm 6 years older than you. Yeah.
No, instead I have Trace calling me grandpa. It's fine. It's fine. I'm just ashes in the ground at this point. You know, I should be in the dirt. I'll stop. That's where I belong, right? It's better down there.
Yeah, just dig the grave, put it over me.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you taught us earlier, yeah, some things just deserve to just stay down there. You don't touch them. That's me. I will say that your evaluation of feeling like an adult really solidifies in your 30s. That is true. Yeah, some things really do kick you in the ass as you get older.
Oh my god.
What?
No, it's still funny though, because like technically I'm Gen Z, but I'm like wicked early Gen Z.
Oh,
like to the point of I still grew up with millennial culture.
You're a zillennial is what they call them, I think.
Yeah, basically. So it's like I hear my own my own generation talking about this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, what the fuck
what are you going on about? Yeah, that's what my little sisters. They don't belong with the millennials or the Gen Zs. It's this 2 to 3 age gap. That's it. That's where you belong, right there. Yeah. This narrow little niche right there.
Yeah, I mean, I was technically born before the millennium. Just don't focus on how late But,
I think it's like 96 to 99. I guess it was like that. Yeah. That's the age where it's like that's the weird awkward spot.
I'm right on the cusp of that. Yeah.
It's like you were born in just enough in time to experience 4E, and then maybe complain about 5E just a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe. No, that sounds about right, actually. Yeah.
Because 4E came out. I'm pretty sure it was like 2002. Let's see, 4E. Let's see. It came out in. Let's see if I'm right about my facts. Okay, so 4th edition came out in. Oh shit, I was wrong. Okay. 2008. 3.5 didn't come out until 2003. Oh man, I'm off by like a whole decade.
Oh yeah, no wonder Pathfinder is popular with people my age. Personally, I think it's a little too complex for casual play, okay, but you know.
Zillennials are the Pathfinder ones. Okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah, no, because it's like, oh, I missed 3.5, and it's like, well, 5E's streamlined. It's a lot easier and like to teach people and everything. Yeah, but it kind of sucks and it's limited. Look, man, you can't have everything.
You really can't. Like, you know, we could try to have our cake and eat it too, but then you would have to be doing some really weird stuff with that cake to have that.
Really like to play 3.5. Okay. Yeah, no, that's why, I mean, especially for my campaign with Afterfall, I was so adamant on doing very heavy homebrew, because there are certain aspects of 3.5 and Pathfinder that I like. Yeah. But I didn't think it needed to be anywhere near as complex.
I completely empathize with that, and it's like I'm in the same boat. But I make up for the complexity by just running a more saturated system with the Westmarch. So I'm like, okay, that'll take care of that kind of like complicated itch for me, because the normal 5e game is not enough. I need to have 50 people in my Westmarch instead to 1 GM. That'll satiate me.
Fair enough.
Right? Yeah, like making things that don't exist. Anyway, what else should we talk about? Let's see. There's so many things that we can't choose, but I'll let you.
I know.
I'll let you pick something, or maybe if you have any questions for Ian. Otherwise,
well, yeah. Why don't we look back to the audience for a second? Bring us your thoughts.
Just stare until we make them uncomfortable.
Okay. Since I play video games while I play 5e because I'm just not taxed enough during game store time or during games sometimes. Yeah. No, that's completely fair. There are people who like that whole real micromanagey lots of math stuff, but
yeah, I noticed that sometimes with 5e, like especially if there's cyclical combat. I think cyclical combat is the worst kind of combat, because I like to do group combat. Or like I will group the characters into like, okay, like if you three are right next to each other, okay, you guys are in the same faction, all three of y'all act together. And sometimes I forget that people don't, like, especially when I'm playing with new players and I get them new, I forget that they're not aware of what I'm talking about, so I just kind of get like deer in the headlights blink, and I'm like, okay, you three together. And they just kind of like, you know, patiently wait. And then eventually just kind of all go at the same time. It's kind of like if you've seen The Simpsons whenever Burns goes to the doctor and like all the diseases trying to get through the door at the same time.
Yeah.
Or is it like Three Stooges syndrome or something? That's exactly what happens. It's like, and all of you go at the same time. All right, great. It takes a little while to get used to it, but it actually does work really well. And also some other things I've seen is like trying to group them up, like, okay, they go like as an entire faction and then we go, and you just kind of like base it on however many more people are in one side versus the other.
Yeah, no, also it's like, I know personally, I and several of my friends will do it where we'll let the players go individually, especially if it's a smaller group, and do like groups of enemies like by type or faction or such. And so it's like, you're not in the Baldur's Gate 3 realm where it's like, all right, I go. Wait their turn. 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 5 hours later, your turn again.
God, I can only imagine, because I've seen some of those combats are pretty big. Okay, so this is gonna sound really crazy, but I think during the first World Record Marathon, we spent 7 or 8 hours setting up the tokens for a massive war, and over the course of 16 hours, we went over 2 rounds with like 340 tokens or so in a war. It was the shortest, longest war ever. It was 12 seconds.
Oh my god, reminds me of the last big bad fight I ran. Just kind of like, we've been here for 3 hours. It's only been 15 seconds.
Goodbye, Dakota. Have a good chat. Have a good day, I mean. Adios.
All right, have a good one.
And with that,
thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. Thank you so much for today. Like, I'm glad that you got a chance to sit down and talk, and for people to get to know who you are. And
absolutely. And thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And those of you that are watching on YouTube after the fact, there's gonna be a bunch of links below in the description for Archaeist. Join his Discord, follow him on Twitch and all of his other socials. He's got a lot of really cool stuff going on, and I hope that that you guys I hope that you got to learn a lot about Ian today, and will consider him as having a community to go to, so that you have a safe place to go and somewhere you can have fun, which is really really awesome. And I'm looking forward to what the next everything going forward with us being partnered will show. So yeah, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
Well, I guess, how does this work if we're doing the share stuff to like raid?
Well, I think we'd have to end separately, maybe?
Let's see, how many people are watching?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not that as many. So I think this
I could always raid into you, because I've only got like one person at the moment.
Potentially. I guess that'll work. You want to raid me? Well, let's see. Is that how that works? Let's see.
If you want, because otherwise I do actually have to run.
Can we actually like raid the same person? Maybe.
We can raid the same person, depending on if they have any settings. Because I know some of the larger channels are like, well, you need to have at least 2 or 3 or 5 people to raid me.
Yeah, I'll let you pick who we raid, and I'll just follow your lead. How about that? Since I guess it might be a little more limited on your end.
Let's see who we have if we search. Well, and who? Oh no, she recently changed her thing, unfortunately.
No, not the changing of a recent thing.
Not Dungeons and Dragons.
Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragnuts. All right. Let's see. Go down the thingy here.
Go down the thingy here. Go down the thingy there.
There are so many pages on here.
There are a lot of people that stream D&D now. It's cool. Streaming has become a very more popularized hobby. But you really got to do something very unique to stand out now. And so that is the hard part whenever a lot of people do the same thing. It's very hard to stand out.
Someone's doing Netherdeep. There's another person doing Adventurers League. Oh, nice. There's someone doing Wilds Before Witchlight. Only got 4 viewers. And I'm just gonna pop in and just kind of like do a little. Never mind, I can't hear any of them. But I don't know. Do you have any suggestions for where to raid?
Well, let me see. So I typically just tend to raid anyone that's like smaller than me. I say that like as big as the number on my thing is, I think it's misleading because followers don't really make like a big community necessarily. People that return back.
Yeah,
I've been very inconsistent, especially the last year and a half with all of the changes and me going into like more of a business entity than a streamer. So I would consider myself to be tiny again, despite the fact that it's almost 900. But let's go ahead and raid. How about Role Playing Unlimited?
All right.
They look like they're having a good time over there. They're doing a charity stream too.
All right.
I don't know. It's Role Playing Unlimited, like capital R, capital U, like all together.
And I'm gonna scroll back to the top.
It's like the very first one that I saw. They look like they're having a lot of fun. They're playing on Foundry, it looks like. Rise of the Ancient Dragon, session 13. Well, guys, thank you guys for coming to.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we can go raid them.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming to watch those of you that came. I will have this video up on YouTube. I'm not gonna promise this to be within by the end of the month. Probably most likely by like end of April or end of May. I also have a lot of other stuff going on with an alpha. But thank you, Ian, so much for coming. We're gonna go ahead and click start right here. All y'all have a good and great, wonderful day. Hope you have a good one, and we'll talk to you later. Adios.
All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Okay, so now come over here and then post raid.